everyone, it's Nisha. So welcome to another Real Talk video. In light of what's happening recently in the world, I have a special guest today and we are going to be talking about racism. So this is Marc,
Hi,
my
guys.
guest, and we're just going to have a nice, honest, casual conversation.
Chit chat, let's talk about it. Right?
Yes.
But one thing you have to understand that separates humans from each other is tradition,
Yeah.
location,
Culture.
and education.
Yeah.
If I educate myself to take the time to find out about you as an individual,
Yeah.
then that doesn't make me racist. That makes me inquisitive. That makes me someone that wants to know further. And that makes me someone that's just, I don't know, in tune with myself. When you follow the cults, when you follow the people that are in the masses and you're talking about, you know, I think I've heard things like all lives matter. That is an ignorance because that's a form of fear. You don't want to take the time out because you are stuck in a form of comfortability that suits you. Mm-hmm. That is racism. Why? Because you are fearful that you're kind of cutting yourself short, because the reality is if I meet a white gentleman today who lives in, I don't know, let's just say a random place, he's never been intertwined with a black person before, he's going to have his prejudice, he's going to have his thoughts based on the media. Now, if me and him meet, what's the worst that can happen? He can have his thoughts, he can have his prejudiced sayings or whatever he decides. But once we have a conversation, that all of that is broken.
Yeah.
Because he could say, oh, but he could say all the stupid stuff. You lot are just lazy. You speak loudly, you do this, you do that. But once I say, okay, is that what you think? Would you care to understand who I am as a person? He's going to want to.
Yeah, of course. And
then once he does that, what happens is I've broken that mold. I've spoken to him. How was your day? I don't mirror your ignorance. Do you understand? I don't mirror what you have to say in terms of all these bad, abusive words. Because once you've said on that, that's gone over my head. What next? Let's dig a bit deeper. Where are you from? Tell me a bit about yourself. What do you have in common? Like, what do you like to do for a hobby? Once these things are now started to discuss, he starts to like me.
You see how much you've got in common, actually.
Exactly. So then, what is racism?
That's what I feel like we should concentrate more on what we have in common than the differences, you know? And so when did you experience racism for the first time? Do you remember?
I think the first day I was born, probably racism. Because the way they handle, see, you got to remember, the way people are handled from personal experiences can develop a form of standards of separation, right?
Yeah.
So a separation, therefore, treated differently from someone else is a form of racism. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Have you ever experienced as a child being told to be careful or be mindful of the police? That's a question to you.
No.
Now, that is the kind of information that I am fed daily. Even till now, I don't live with my mom, I don't live with my parents, but I'm still told, be careful of the police, be careful of this, be careful of that, or work harder, right? Because there is such thing, they don't call it white privilege because, my parents don't really use that term, but they use, you have to work twice as hard as a white person to be even noticed. I've said it again, and I've said it before, even when it comes down to CVs, even as now, my name is not Marc, my name is Mattis, but in order to put yourself in a better position, you have to change things that make you acceptable.
So what you're saying, that if you put your real name on a CV, someone might 100%.
Not
even
look
at it.
I've experienced times where I come from a construction-based background, and I've experienced times when I've gone for certain positions, I'm taking on certain projects, and because of my name, I definitely know I've been overlooked. I've even had, headhunters, people who work in recruitment, call me, prep me up before a job, and say to me, Mr. Igbenadian, which is my name, would you consider putting your first name and then just put in the first initial of your last name? Don't put your date of birth. Don't put the area you're from. Obviously, I can understand the area you're from sometimes can also...
It's terrible.
Yeah, the area you're from, I look at it as a light one,
no,
because you could be too...
changing the name.
Yeah, the changing the name is bad. Like the ones I make exceptions for are the area because they, you know, as an employee, they don't want you working too far from the job. But in terms of your name, that's kind of like, it's silencing. I think it's about time that people understand that if you're going to make change on situations, you need to be willing to make change. Don't just say it.
Do you also think that it is generational problem? How do you think that the younger generation, like your generation, like my son, because I spoke about it to my son and he's like,
See, your son is like, I've met your son and I don't really know him, but from what I gather of him, he's has an open mind. He has a clear vision. Now, if you want to change something, it starts from home, right?
We talked about that. It all starts at home.
It starts at home.
But do you think then, I always wanted to ask this question, you know, when you're growing up and your parents tell you, be careful of the police, be careful of the white people, do you think that puts something
That is a
in
form of
your
programming. I'm going to be releasing
that-
something called Dear Parents, right, soon.
Yeah.
And that's going to be speaking about, you know, the kind of parenting programming to the children.
Yeah.
But they're not at fault. Nobody's
No,
at
of
fault.
course,
No,
they
but what
just
I'm trying to
wanna
say is,
protect
see, your
their
circumstance, your circumstance and your habitat make you who you are. My parents came here as, you know, believing.
And your
that-
parents are from Nigeria.
Yeah, they are from Nigeria. They came here believing that this would be a better land to bring up their children. So they've also experienced their pollution through the media, through their surroundings, that, you know, this is how London and England is. I have to prepare my son. Not realizing that instead of this words of affirmation, if they say to you, look, you can do anything you want to do.
Yes.
You can be the best you want to be. But can I blame them for that?
No, of course not, because you want to protect your
Exactly.
children any
So
way you
all I've got to
can.
do from that situation is I have to understand and learn from their mistakes. My parents are the most loving parents, and they're still here, and I'm grateful. And I can learn to achieve and grow from that. So when I have my children or my daughter, or when I have future children, I'll say to them, you know, you can do anything you want to do. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Press forward.
It's a bit like, that's a really simple comparison. So, you know, when you take your child for their first injection,
Yes.
and a lot of parents will go, don't worry, you know, it won't hurt. That child probably didn't even think for a second that something bad is going to happen to
They
it.
didn't, because you put it into their mind.
But then you say, that won't hurt, it's a nice doctor.
But you didn't have to realize, you see, I don't want to bring it back to, you see, with Max, handsome guy, you have to realize that because our walks are different, you have never experienced
No, of course not.
the tempering with with a doctor. You've never experienced or heard bad stories. You might have heard some, but you don't hear it from from a black doctor or something like that. You hear it from like, let me just start again. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to experiences like that, you have to realize that the narrative is me. So with a black person now, I can't even go to a normal doctor, a black doctor, because we're seen as black doctors are dodgy, they're this, they're that.
You think that black doctors
Of course,
are
because this is what's been programmed. What you have to realize is we have been programmed to think that our own race, our own people are not good enough because the media
Yes, I
produces
get it, yeah.
information. But what I'm trying to say is that some people have to realize that you telling Max he has nothing to worry about, that's good as a mother because you've never experienced any form of, you know, don't go to him because I hear all these kind of things. Wow.
Sorry.
He really does know. What I'm really trying to get at is, as a black person, we are always put into a negative mindset. Anything we do is think twice, take a second guess, don't be so forthcoming, relax, you know, take a breather. I would rather go to a white doctor than a black doctor. It's changed over time because I can see that everything that I've learned, I've had to unlearn. But we have to be smart enough to know that it is a business. Racism is a business. What profits these so-called people but to have division? Me and you together, me and your husband or me and someone together could probably go miles. I have an idea. He has the financial power, or I have the financial power. He has an idea. Let's work together. There's strength in numbers, right? When you separate the numbers and you create division, there's no financial growth. There's no
Yes.
there's no knowledge. There's ignorance. There's fear. There's distraction. I call distraction your biggest enemy. Right? We are all consumed on racism. Like,
Yes.
oh my God, what is different from now?
Why does everything come down to the race?
You know why? Because it's the biggest business. Now watch this. We've all heard of Black Wall Street. Have you heard of Black Wall Street?
No.
Black Wall Street was the first form of black-owned businesses, entrepreneurs. It was like an area dedicated to black successful businessmen, which was burnt down. It was burnt down. I'll allow people to go. I'm not going to give you dates. I'm not going to do it. If you care enough to understand, and this is not for you, this is for the followers, go and do your research. There is strength in numbers, right? Now, if people now start clearing their eyes and they start working together, we now push racism to one side.
Yeah.
We now start focusing on, wait, hold on, we're making money. We're doing things the way we want to do. So why do we now have to hate each other? Then you now start looking at the real cause. So then, like I said, it's a diversion. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
What does it benefit me to hate a white person? What does it benefit me? The people that feel guilty as, oh my God, I'm not racist. You know, I don't know.
White guilt.
It's not even white guilt. What it is a form of lack of understanding of what you really stand for as a person. Like I said, we're one step away from success, right? You could have someone that could take me to the next level. But because there's a distraction and there's a form of prejudice and hatred, you hate me because of the color of my skin. Do you know how stupid that sounds?
Yeah.
Like really deep it. Do you know how stupid that sounds? You hate me because I eat something different to you, or I speak a different language to you. Yeah. Do you know how immature that is?
Of course it is.
Do you know how immature it is for anybody to drive past, because this has happened to me, and go, you nigger. Okay, I'm a nigger. What does that mean? You're trying to belittle me because my skin looks different from yours. I don't look at white people and say, I hate them. I look at white people and think, you just need to educate yourself.
Yes.
When people say, oh, I've seen sermons, oh my God, I feel so guilty. Why are you feeling guilty?
I think, knowledge is power. I think that
you said it.
These people that have these radical thoughts, I'm sorry.
Radical is even giving them too much of a boost. People who have stupid thoughts. Let's call it stupid. Let's belittle it.
Yeah, that's what
radical
I mean.
Sounds like you're going to do a revolutionary.
They're not educated and they can't think for themselves.
There you go.
Therefore, they just listen to what they see on. So, if we talk about racism, because that's all we hear now on the TV, we are all racists. So, I want to hear your experiences, apart from you had to change your name. You were talking about with Lucy, was it Lucy? Something about when you're buying a car.
Yeah, listen, everything I do has to be second guessed, and like buying cars, buying certain, clothes or certain things is something that has to be considered or looked at or scrutinized.
Because if you have a nice car, you will get stopped more by the police.
100%.
And why is that?
Because a black person can't own certain things.
So
you must be a drug
it's again
dealer.
that thing.
The
You
first
can't
question,
be successful because you are black.
But this is all programming. This is all programming. The first thing that comes to, I would say, uneducated. I'm going to call them uneducated.
Yes.
I'm not even going to give them the title of racism. The first thing that comes to an uneducated person's brain is, this person is doing better than me. They must be a drug dealer. Don't get it twisted. We all have responsibilities and we're all bad in our own ways. But why are we judged because a certain small percentage have done something so wrong, which is from a system that they've created?
Do you know, I again blame the social media, the mainstream media. It's just stereotyping, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But then didn't you say, earlier on that you can't say certain things on YouTube because your video will get banned. Now this is a very good example. YouTube, all the social media platforms need to pay attention until they need to be held accountable for the actions that they take. They have a responsibility.
Yes, they do, but they also are being controlled by certain people.
Well, then they're slaves. They're the stupid ones.
Yeah.
But with YouTube, you know, doing stuff, or Instagram, everybody has a responsibility of putting out an image, right? People are going to watch this.
Hello, free speech.
You doing what you've done now, letting me into your home to speak to you, should be something normal, right?
I find it normal.
It is normal. It is normal. And I feel quite at home. But there are some people who will be very irritated at the sight of it. That doesn't suit what we're trying to push out, right? Because that's the reality. White and black shouldn't mix. I used to preach to people and say to people, if you don't want to face racism, go back home. Go to Africa. You can do whatever you want to do there.
But that shouldn't be the thing.
But then this is the thing that I need to bring to your attention and many others. Black people have been here from the beginning, just like yourselves. Everywhere. Even in this country.
We all come from Africa.
Yeah. You see, not many people are like yourself who are open-minded. There are some people who are evil, but very creative. To be evil, you have to be creative. You know that, right? You have to generate the process of how am I going to deceive
Sneaky.
all these people. They say that the biggest trick that the devil ever played was to make you think that hell doesn't exist. Do you know what that means? If someone can come and create to think of it, racism and everything, that's a creative mind. I'm going to create division. That is a skill. I have to give props to the person that created it, because the other people that have picked it up are not thinkers for themselves. They're sheep. Do you know, like I said, I'm going to make it sound so stupid because I'm going to belittle it. We're born the same, like this. White, black. Put two babies together, two babies, one black, one white. They'll come together, they'll love each other because they are the same. They're humans, not aliens, they're not reptilians, not nothing. But put certain things into the head. The white child will look at the black child like a bit suspicious, and the black child will look at the white person in a suspicious way as well. The black child will look at the white child as, you're my persecutor. And the white child will look at it as, I'm white privilege. I'm in a better position than you, and you are bad because you lot are robbers, you lot are thieves and all these kind of things. Because it's not their fault, it's because of what's put into their head. So I have to give props to people who have created that narrative to feed into people's minds. Like you keep on saying, knowledge goes a long way. But how much time do people really put into finding out the truth?
So, because I'm talking to you, but I also listen to some black creators on YouTube, and they all have
different narratives.
Yeah.
You said you watched other people. Everybody's different. Everybody has different experiences. So it's very difficult to kind of get a general answer. Why? Because everybody has different knowledge.
I know,
Everybody has different experience.
Quite confusing.
You understand? But I'll ask you this. If you saw a group, I want you to answer honestly, because I'll answer honestly. Watch. If you saw a group of, let's say 5 black boys, hoodies, in the corner of the road, and it was a narrow road, and you have the opposite side, and I'm just going to pull it as it is. I'm not going to try and beat around the bush. What would you do? Would you walk past them? And I want you to talk based on media consumption. Yeah. I want you to talk on.
I would be worried.
Okay. But why would you be worried? It's just 5 black men.
Well, depends if they were all like in hoodies. But I would feel like that if I saw...
But we're all wearing masks now because of COVID. So...
That's even more scary.
We're all wearing masks because of COVID.
Yeah, and that is because of
programming.
Yeah, of the stigma that if you see a bunch of, you know, especially if they have like hoods on, you know.
What you said now is perfect, is because you have to understand what is being pumped out there. The media are making you wear masks, right? So the media also making you feel that 5 black hooded guys is something to worry about, right? They could just be hooded up because it's raining. It could be hooded up because they just want to put their hoods up. Now, I'll tell you now, if I saw 5 white guys or a group of white guys, yeah, more, 10, 20 groups up, I would walk straight through and I wouldn't think a thing. But if I saw, like yourself, a group of 5 black guys, I would be a bit suspicious. And that's me saying that as a black man. And that's not because of I've encountered anything with any of them. That's because of the programming. Because everything you go through every day, I know it's all right, you're enjoying your sleep.
Sorry, everyone. They all know Louis.
Everything you're going through daily is a form of programming.
Yeah.
It's a service, it's a demand. For example, you don't have an alarm in your house, right, if there hasn't been robberies. I knock on your door, hi, would you like an alarm service? Well, we've never had a robbery before, so I don't want to buy. Then what I do,
I rob you.
Then I come back 2 weeks later, do you need an alarm? Yes, we do. So it's a create and a demand. If we create suppression, we create prejudice, if we create mind control to show you that black people are this and that, what happens is the people that are innocent and that are minding their own business, they be consumed with all these negative thoughts and prejudice. And then they automatically place black gentlemen or black women or whatever in a narrative. This is not to say that us as black people do not, sometimes we don't help ourselves.
Have the same prejudice.
We don't help ourselves because this is all a form of programming. If you didn't, let's say half of the population didn't watch TV, you wouldn't know what's out there.
Exactly.
That's cool. Some people want to be left to think what they want to think because they're scared to think outside the box.
Yes.
You understand? They're scared to think outside the box because it doesn't benefit them. Just like some people are born to get up, go to sleep, go to work, go to sleep, go to work, and just do it consistently without any form of disruption. Shows no form of freedom. That is a systematically controlled person. Bringing it back to race. If you're now told this person is bad for you, this is bad for you, that is bad for you, you are now an instrument. You go out your house as an instrument, believing in things that have been created. Do you know how stupid that is? Imagine I give you aspirin. Yeah? I said, this aspirin is going to make you a superhuman. You're going to take this aspirin and think you're going to go outside. You're going to jump off the bridge and say, but the aspirin told me that I could jump off the bridge.
Yeah.
That is how racism is. People have been fed these things like black people are this, black people are that. So it's money. You buy alarm systems. You don't mingle with black people. And there's things you can learn from me. Just like things I can learn from you. But we can get benefits out of exchanging. Look, the benefit of us being at peace, we exchange information.
I think that it's important as well to learn the culture. You know, like you said earlier that, because we're loud and that, yeah.
We are loud because have you been to Nigeria before?
No.
See, Nigeria.
I've been to Kenya and
okay,
Caribbean.
cool. Kenyan people are very soft, very quiet, slow. I call them sloths. Have you seen a sloth?
Yeah.
They're like sloths. They're very... Nigerian people... This is why Nigerian people are loud. And I never used to know that. I used to be embarrassed of a Nigerian person on the bus, like screaming, hello, I'm coming home. And I'd be like, why are they shouting like that? because the British culture is very quiet. But when I went to Lagos for the first time as a 13-year-old, it's because there is loud horning. There's loud beep, beep, traffic, loads of people. The population is beyond your imagination. So everyone is trying to be heard, right? So now that becomes ingrained within their system. So when they now come to a place like England where it's not as loud and they just do what they think is natural to them, like, hello? Everyone's just like, oh my God, don't be so absurd. Why are you so loud? And that is just how we are.
Yeah.
The only problem that I think black people as a whole have is being treated differently.
Yes.
We don't call all white people racist. In fact, what I do think happens is, and I think it's quite a sad thing, is we praise white people more than we praise our own. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We praise the white... I was giving you that example of doctors and stuff like that. I would look at a white doctor. I cut my foot the other day, yeah?
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I didn't care whether he was an Italian. I didn't care. The moment that I saw he was white, I actually relaxed. I thought, okay, cool. I'll take the sleeping gas. He could have been there trying to kill me, let's just say. If it was a black person, and this is down to programming, I would have been a bit more apprehensive. I would have asked him, what's your experience like? But that's not because I am dragging him down. But that's because what I've been fed
So
understand?
some of this
Some of the black people
resentment
is passed along.
Is comes from your own community.
It does. Listen, I'll be stupid standing here saying that a lot of the prejudice that is thought about white people doesn't come from myself.
Leaders very lonely.
Yeah, it is. Being of the mind that...
It's the sheep that have the herd.
Of course.
Yeah.
The leaders are lonely.
Of course.
Yeah.
I saw a picture today which was so funny. Yeah? I saw a sheep, I saw a middle person, and I saw a wolf. The wolf was meant to be the cults and the higher society. The Lone Ranger was supposed to be the thinker. And the sheep were just the watchers to see which way do we go? Do we follow? I'm going to send you a video, yeah? And I want you to put this in the, I showed you the video. I want you to put it in your thing. And it breaks down racism in the most stupid way.
Oh, really?
It makes racism look so immature.
I know it is.
Someone was like, it was like, why are you racist? He said, I'm not racist.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
He goes, I'm not racist, but when you got black people sucking it and doing all these things, and he goes, wait, that's racist. He goes, no, it's not racist. Then he goes, and then you got them packies. He said, that's racist. He goes, hold on. He goes, that's not racist. Listen, they come here, they take our jobs, they do this. Listen, what? They do this, they do that, they do that. And then he goes, then the guy that was interviewing this gentleman, I like to call everybody a gentleman, because he goes, so what do you do for the country? He goes, I don't do anything. Then he was like, wait. So
Okay, let's get back on to Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
So what about these black people that say that if you don't support that, if you don't go there with your card, you must be a racist?
But what are they really doing? What are they really doing? They're just putting up a banner, Black Lives Matter. After that, what happens? They go back home.
Exactly.
They're just sheep as well. They're sheep as well. If you really want to change the way people think, be excellent.
We need to have conversations like this.
What can we do to change it? There's nothing that can really be done until people in positions of power
Yes.
do things that need to be. Give us our history, not the history that we want of slavery, because that isn't our history. That was a narrative that was created for us to now educate ourselves.
Okay,
in.
so you don't want that be the main focus, the history. That
My
is
daughter is 4 years old. There's going to come a time when she decides to learn about her heritage. In school, they're going to teach her about slavery. They're going to probably play her the Roots video because they played it to me, right? And what does it do? It creates separation because, oh my God, Daddy, I watched Roots and it was about some guy called, I can't remember his name again. He got beat because his name was Kunta Kinte. I'm like, I don't want my daughter doing that. I don't want my daughter to come home and be mentally occupied with negative narrative. I want her to learn about her heritage and how she came from a place where it was peaceful, beautiful. To look a certain way was okay. To live a certain way was okay. Not about oppression. Because that learning about oppression creates oppression. I think I have to change that narrative. This is what I believe. We don't want revenge. When I say we as a people, we do not want revenge. I don't speak for the ones who, I speak for the general, or I speak for myself or people like-minded. We don't want revenge. We just want to be treated equally.
Yeah.
For those who want to seek revenge, the question that should they ask themselves is, have they experienced any form of ill treatment that their ancestors have faced? No. Would their ancestors want them to avenge for them? No. Their ancestors would want them to live a good life. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, for the hatred that lives within people, hatred alone in your heart is a cancer. I can't live my life thinking about someone that, not even you directly, someone that you have, what's the word? You're paying for the sins of someone that you've never met, right? We just want equality. For those people who feel guilty, it's a form of fear. Because the fear is that if we now come as equals, we are going to probably rain down on you, just like some people rain down on us. I don't say you, I say some people. So if you want to give us the equal rights, stop teaching us to be slaves. Not making us slaves, teaching us how to be slaves. Stop giving us the curriculums and programming us to see ourselves as second-class citizens. Yeah, I'm stumbling on words.
No,
Second-class citizens. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Stop giving us the narrative where we have to choose our narrative.
It's almost when you're growing up with like this victim mentality.
100%. Like I said, have you ever grown up with the mindset that you have to, oh my God, black people have been trying to kill us for years. They've been trying to oppress us. There are black people who go around with the mentality of hatred because that is all they have been taught. I don't have time to be having conversations with people who say, oh my God, you're an Uncle Tom, or they're blaming for everything. Don't blame them. You've been born in this time. Yeah? What are you going to do in this time?
Yeah.
Right? If I want to make a change, right? Or I'll talk to a fellow black person or a white person, do right for you. If I open up a business, employ the best man for the job, not based on color. Based on the best person academically, yeah, mental wise, where they're from. We are overlooking things. Mental stability is the most important thing. If you can control the mental state of mind, you can change a generation.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I said it's very important not for a white person to be fearful. If you want to change things, marching ain't gonna do nothing. Change the way you think. If you don't feel guilty because it's not you. Yeah. I always say, and there's a prayer that I say to myself, and I always tell people, Father, Lord, forgive me for my sins and for my forefathers' sins that they created before me. Right? Because if God wants to curse you, and I'm not going to get all holy, but if God wants to do something to you, he might not touch you. He might touch generations to come. Nothing is overlooked. Nothing is forgotten. So, like I said, anybody that has hatred in themselves is because they're bored. Focus on yourself. Be great. Be great. Like, why are you going to sit around like what is... If I hated you that much, I hate white people. I swear to God, every white person I'd see, I'd fight with them. But then what have I really done?
And you would be so unhappy, just eaten by the
unhappy.
hatred.
I'm missing the best things in life. I'm missing eating, salmon. I'm missing eating plantain with some yam. I'm missing watching football. I'm missing traveling because I'm so consumed in creating a movement. We're going to march and show white people that we belong. You belong. You are here.
I agree, because we're still saying there is racism in the UK.
100%.
100%.
100%.
So tell me what needs to change.
What needs to change? To change the front door. This is a saying, I'll explain. To change the front door, rip down the foundation. Don't just change the front door, change the whole foundation. Right? Change the whole educational system. Yeah? Change the parliament. Let there be a face of change. Right? You've got Sadiq Khan as the mayor of London. That's some form of change. Right? But don't just change something and hide and then do bullshit. And then everybody says, well, he's from Pakistan, so it's his fault. Do you understand? Let everybody be judged for themselves. Change the way you educate people. Start from young.
And at home, obviously, starts at home as well.
It starts from home. Like, I'm never going to tell my daughter, work harder because the white man has got a privilege over you. I'll say, work hard because it's a competitive world out there. That's what I'll say to them. It's hard. Life is hard. There came a stage when my dad used to say it to me, life is hard. He stopped telling me about the white man because he could see what it was doing to me.
So when did it change for you? That you stopped thinking?
When it changed for me is when I hit university. I faced racism in university. I faced racism every day of my life.
How at university? From other students?
I faced racism from my own person. It sounds weird, doesn't it? I had this guy, and I'm going to name and shame him because he's an arse, because I still got a first in my degree. His name was Gregory Maziah. University of the Arts. I studied interior design and project management. And he was Greek Cypriot and Martinique. It's like a small Caribbean island. And I think he had like a bit of some other Caribbean, but he was so hard on black people. And then he used to say to, there was only a few black people in my class. It was me and two other black girls. The rest were like mixed, Japanese, Chinese, whatever. And when I asked him, I was like to him, why are you so, I accused him. I said, why are you acting like a suppressor? Because you have to understand, to be in this industry as a black man, you have to work harder. And I thought, that's racism. Because what you're doing is, you're not marking me as a normal person.
Yeah. You're
someone
being, already disadvantaged.
You're making it harder for me. And do you know what I ended up doing? I ended up transferring because of the way he was. So don't make the situation worse. If you're going to judge me according to who I am, what I show you, not because of this. But then that's what I'm saying. We have to be aware so the young ones can grow up.
I feel that they're teaching the young ones this now. It's like coming back. So
that's what they're doing in the protests. The protest is creating a division. It's creating a division.
I know.
Bigly. It's cool. There are people that benefit from people getting sacked. This is an opportunity. It's a distraction. There are people, 100%. Why is it now all of a sudden everybody's getting sacked?
Well, because there is this uprise of the movement.
But then racism has existed for long.
Well, so why? Well, we know why that started because
we're
of
pushing
George Floyd.
we're pushing into a new world. We're pushing into a new world, right? New businesses. The biggest up and coming race is the mixed race. That's the biggest race that's coming through now. You can't have racism in a world like that if everybody's mixed. Because everybody is mixed. But now they're coming through as this new super. I don't know what to call them, a being or a person. They are a person.
A being?
Yeah, like a human being, innit? Like a human being. But I will feel like we're going through times where change can't be ignored anymore. So to satisfy the disgruntled people, which is the blacks who feel like we've been targeted for years, heads have to roll. But that doesn't mean racism is going to die. Oh, let's sack a couple of people. Yeah, Becky was at the end of her 52-year reign at head of finance at so-and-so. Sack her for a tweet that she said about black people years ago. Boom, she's gone. They just put another person in the same position who we don't know is racist or not racist. This is just in time for change. Not all the time is it going to be for the purpose of that benefits everybody. It's going to be for an agenda, right? So in terms of now, I would say to anybody like yourself who's scared, don't be scared. Try to educate yourself as best as possible. Don't go around trying to scream that I'm not racist, because that will put you in more problems.
So don't say you're not racist. That doesn't.
It's pointless. It's like saying I don't eat pork. Like, who cares? Like,
I suppose when you meet a person, you can tell.
You can tell. You can get like we can pick up energy. If someone wants to be a bit funny, it's because they don't know me. Because
in the end, that's what it's all about. You know, you are just a horrible person, or you're a nice person.
100%. But it's division. Division makes money. Division makes money. If we're all on the same page, then money doesn't get made.
But you still say that there is still this thing when you're going for a job that you're not going to get a job because you are black.
100%. That still exists.
I see you being in a beauty community on YouTube. I've seen the black YouTubers saying that, for example, they don't get as much PR sent, or
they don't, because what you have to understand is the mass. This is the mindset. This is the narrative that's put out there. White influencers get more opportunities and get more things that are catered for them than the blacks, right? So if you want to look at racism even goes down to that. Now, most shows that cast, and I'm going to be direct, most shows that cast for black characters or diversity only do that to cover their ass, to show that we are not racist. If you now do Love Island or you do any of these shows, if you want a true representation of what the UK culture is like, then you cast equally. You're not going to get, if there's 13 casts, you're not going to get 12 cast white and then 1 cast black. That is not a true representation of the UK culture.
So, you know, like if people say, oh, in my office there is only 2 black people, well, why is that? Are you racist, or is it because in this area
then that needs
there
to be
is not
scrutinized? I think there needs to be, I think there is something coming like that, but I would applaud there being a group or like a particular party or a business that go around checking these things. I mean, England and America, they have companies for everything. You have companies that check, you know, tax, whatever. So if you have
like
a company,
association,
if you have an association that really checks the diversity, because companies need to be like, I as a black person have so many skills that I can offer a business. Why should I be subjected to cancellation because of my skin? So really and truly, you're not putting the best man in a job. You're putting someone in a job that you are comfortable with in your job because you don't know any different.
Okay, now then let's go back. Why wouldn't they? Even though you've got the skills, why wouldn't they give you a job?
Because, why wouldn't they? If they don't, let's just say I am the best man for the job. If they do not give me the job, then the only other reason that comes to mind because of what I see in front of me is my skin.
And the thing is, you can't prove it, can you?
You can't. You can't. But this is what we call institutional racism, right? Now, the only way that can be completely said, no, you can't even say this, you have someone in the company, and these companies are governed. These businesses, whether it be makeup or cosmetics, sports, whatever, have these parties there to make sure this is actually going according to plan. With football now, they have something, I can't remember the name. They have an association now that are making sure that a lot more black coaches and a lot more black managers are being put in position to represent.
Yeah, I feel like on a TV, there is not enough representation.
It's changing. If you see more black people in a positive position, how would that make you feel?
Good.
Okay, cool. You are a victim of what is being pushed out there. Just like I'm a victim.
As like the people at the march.
Yeah, they are victims. What you have to understand is most of the prisons in this country are filled with black people. This is what you don't realize. A lot of these institutional prisons that are around the country are full up of blacks and other ethnic groups. But what is done is they highlight that black people are creating more crimes because they're pushing out an energy.
Things of crimes.
Do you understand? Right. Like I used to say this, and this is me being stupid, yeah? Or this is when I was ignorant to the film. I used to think to myself, I've never seen a Chinese person in prison before. I used to think like this. I've never seen, in my whole existence in this country, I've never ever...
Chinese person being arrested.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange.
No, I probably haven't.
You haven't, right? Because it's not pushed out there. But I guarantee you, go to China, you will see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens is in this country...
It's the narrative.
It's the narrative.
Being pushed.
I like that. That's all it is. It's all a form of narrative. It's all a form of an energy. So like I keep on saying, there are racist people, but I'm going to call them victims. You've been controlled. Your mind has been tampered with. You have let yourself down by not educating yourself. You've let yourself down by not taking the time to change your mindset because you just want to get on with life, which is fine. But then that's down to you.
Well said.
That's just down to you.
And how do you feel? Have you experienced racism in any...
And not so much kind of like, well, actually, yeah, I guess as you get older in your career, when you're younger, you do. But it's up to you what you take on. I associate a lot of it, again, with just ignorance. And my mum always used to tell me, if you argue with an idiot, then who's the idiot?
You're both the idiot.
Exactly. From a distance, you can't tell who the idiot is.
Yeah, my mum used to say that to me. Don't argue with an idiot.
Oh, is speaking to individuals, I feel. Like I watched Leona Lewis, you know Leona Lewis?
Yeah.
She just posted a video on YouTube, or someone posted it for her, telling her experience, how she, and that was after she won
Was it X Factor? Yeah.
She said they were in London, her and her dad. She just bought a house. She'd been to a meeting and she saw this house with like a shop with home stuff, and she wanted to get something. So she said we walked into this shop. It was just white people. There were only the two black people there. And, you know, they were looking and picking stuff up, and they said that the woman from behind the counter came up to them and said, you can't be picking stuff up. And she was like, well, why not? I might buy something. She said, no, you mustn't. And she got really annoyed, Leona, you know, saying, well, everybody else is. And he got very awkward. So all the white people left.
Mm-hmm. Really?
The shop, yeah. Leona, in the end, ran out with her dad and all this in a car. Then her dad took Leona's CD, went back to that shop, obviously showed the woman who she was, which shouldn't be a factor, should it? But the woman then came out and apologized to Leona. Oh, sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Yeah, I think this is what happens. I feel like...
So... okay, if you're famous and black, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying, but everybody is put in that line, everybody's put in a swamp until they are recognized by white people for, you know, like contributing to their society, right? We had I was a defender, right? Zora was a striker. Most of the other players were midfielders and so on. You couldn't get past me. It was... you came, you got clamped. So when we're beating teams, we used to play against county teams, like people from like all kinds of places all over England where just white players. We used to get racism from the parents. You know, oh man, look at them, they've got a bunch of monkeys playing for them and stuff.
Shut up, no 100%. One says that.
100%, wait, you really haven't, trust me, monkeys, they used to get into it.
Shut up.
You got a bunch of monkeys playing for them.
Parents would stand online and say that?
100%.
Some of the racism I got at school was from parents, not even kids.
Yeah. The first form of racism I got on a football pitch, I will never forget it. So, oh my God. I was running. So a boy had taken the ball. He was gone. Then they used to call me Tank. Tank, get on him. Run. And I clamped him. Bang. Obviously, yeah, well tackled, well played. And you know, you're not playing in a stadium. You're playing.
Yeah. I know. My son used to play, so
ask your son.
Football, Mum.
Ask your son. You know, I remember getting the ball to throw in because I clamped him, but the ball rebounded. And look at you flipping monkey. I was like, what? What did he say? Say, yeah, nothing. Piss off.
And what? You couldn't tell anybody?
My dad didn't come. My dad didn't even want me playing football because my dad understood that, you know, I was not meant to be used for the entertainment.
I can't believe it.
I guarantee you it still happens now. At grassroots, we call it grassroots. Racism happens everywhere.
Yeah, but I can't understand, you know, kids playing football and parents shouting.
You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing.
Am I being naive?
I don't think you're being naive. I think what it is you've probably experienced certain things, but you've had no reason to pay attention to the other side.
No.
Do you understand? Do you know how many matches were abandoned? When I played, my secondary school was in Peckham, which is South London. A majority of my team were black. We were all black. Most of them, two of my cousins are professional footballers till this day. A couple of them have gone into like management and all that kind of stuff. We were black boys. We had a few white boys, but we were black footballers going across the country playing different teams, and we faced racism all the time.
Well, I've seen it happening on a TV on a big game.
Yeah.
But I think football hooligans are the worst sort.
Football hooligans are a bunch of peasants.
Yeah.
Who have nothing better to do but to drink. I call it Heineken.
They go and look for trouble, don't they?
Because they're bums. Who puts it on the TV? Money is being pumped into negative narrative. You know, you have to look at all these things, even with things like music, grassroots, football, everything. You have to look at how can we make this equal? Can it be done?
Can it?
Can it be done? I think it can, but do people want to spend the time? Do people want to spend the money?
What do you mean by spending the time?
It takes a lot of time to undo years of, for example, people, for things to change, right? You can't, you see all these marches, none of them people can really change anything. I'm being honest, like, you march. Okay, it's got coverage. You're controlling people's mind. Oh my God, I'm so depressed. I don't want to see this, right? Now, let's just say the wife of Boris Johnson is seeing this and she gives a shit. And she says, Boris, you have to do something about this. I can't do this. This is so much. Boris could be like, oh, don't worry about it. We're just giving them a freedom of speech. They will get bored. Nothing happens, right? But if you have someone breathing on Boris's neck and saying, we need the better for every person. We need to reflect and we need to change things for everybody. What can we do? The answers are there.
But do you think so? Because, like you said,
Empower
black people don't represent in power. So you need.
There's no representation of black people.
Yeah.
If you want to show equal power, right, you have to share creative content.
Yes.
Right? Like we're doing this video now. You have creative content, but we are in agreement. Because what you put out there, you have to be responsible for. Right? So anybody that wants to change anything, you have to give the thoughts and views, like how do you want to be perceived? What can we do to change it? If Boris Johnson sat down with people like me or people with money, like, you know, black people with money, or because people with no money are just yappers. They're just talking. Their talking's only going to get so far, right? You can't do anything. There are black people in financial power that can do something, right? You change things in the financial system. With the financial system, you can put a block and you can put an uphold and change the way people think. People come together. You put Boris Johnson under scrutiny. You say, let's change the educational system. Let's change the football system. Let's change the way black people are being perceived on TV. How are we going to do it? Let's put more black people, black programs on TV with signs of like family life, not just gangster films.
Yes,
not just films of robbery.
That's what I mean.
Single mama.
Yes.
If you don't want to be called, I'm sorry to say it. Gone are them days where I say, oh my, I'm not racist anymore. Show you're not racist. If I go, let's say for example, a police officer on road, there's a lot more black officers. Let's just say there's a lot more black police officers. You would never hear, oh, you're just stopping me because I'm black. Or you would, eventually that whole talk of you're just a coconut.
So do you think that even in police, they don't want to employ black policemen?
They only employ a certain amount of black officers because a lot of black people don't want to be seen as police officers. Why? Because to be associated with the police is to be associated with oppression and, snitching, right? If you put it down to you're actually policing your people to do better. So you need representations of black people everywhere. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is that everybody needs to understand that just have a representation. I personally think what would happen is if everybody had a crossover in every form of life, walkover in life, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. That's what I think anyway.
It still boggles my mind, all this.
It boggles your mind because you allow it to. Don't allow racism to consume your pure mind. Do the best you can,
It's just sad and silly, isn't it?
It's sad. It's sad that someone can be killed.
So basically, this is not like average Joey's fault. It's the people at the top that feed us all this
It's
stuff.
always the people at the top. The people at the top have a responsibility to educate the people at the bottom. But at the same time, the people at the bottom have the responsibility on themselves to find out more. Right? Times of, I think the Caribbeans were also brought over here. Every foreigner that's in this country, here, or my generation was brought here on promise, right? Because we are doing something for the country that their own countrymen could not do, right? Now, the problem that the ancestral English empire did was they promised things that they couldn't deliver. And now when they couldn't deliver it, what they did is they made It's like a compensation. Okay, you know what? We couldn't deliver all our promises, but we're going to let you stay here. So what you had is a lot of the soldiers from the wars and stuff stay over and migrate and, you know, integrate with all the, you know, the people of the locals. Now, when the other men, who were I classify as lazies, not all of them, some of them were lazy, like, oh, you're taking our women, you're eating our food, you speak different, you look different. It created a form of hatred. Then one person now started creating the idea, go back to your country. But they don't realize that the only reason we're here is because you were there.
Yeah.
You understand? But they don't take that time to understand that. So unfortunately, until you can understand that, we're always going to have this problem. What was that? I think within my time of when they really introduced Black History Month, I think that was at its premature stage. Where,
do we have Black History Month here?
Yeah. October. I can't remember the dates.
So what, they, at school for that month, they teach children
I think
about
it's just
Black
like part of the
history.
curriculum now.
Okay.
It's just kind of, but then all it is taught. I don't think it's really extensive stuff taught. It's just this person was a slave, that person was a slave. This person, and then what they'll do is they'll talk about. I remember there was a Caribbean poet, Benjamin was it Benjamin something? He was a writer. He was dyslexic and he couldn't read or write, but he could write poems. Someone used to write his poems. So you just get taught about one or two individual Black people to their satisfaction. So it was always there was always a ceiling to the education.
So they don't teach about the slavery and...
They do, but then that's when I learned about roots. But it's always, hi guys, we're going to talk about it. And I'll never forget when my headmaster came in to my class, the whole year assembly. I was like, this month is the Black History Month. They gave us a piece of paper, which my parents had to sign, whether I could be involved in the education of Black history. So my mum was like, yeah, you're going to learn some really good stuff. So when I came back, Mum was like, oh, so, you know, how was it? I was like, Mum, who's Kunta Kinte? Mum was like, Kunta Kinte? My mum said, I don't know Kunta Kinte. My mum's a Nigerian. I don't know Kunta Kinte. She's like, yeah, Mum, he got whipped because he didn't want to change his name. And
so your mum didn't teach you about
slavery? Didn't. It's only, my mum's knowledge of slavery was very limited because she believes that a lot of the slaves come from Ghana. That's just her things and then the little information she's given me in terms of slavery it was the black leaders that sold their own people.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And that they sold them for guns and all these kind of things. And then she told me that there was no point of slavery because we had it all as Africans. And I think her education of that was limited because she was educated in Nigeria. So they didn't have a need to be educated in slavery. It was more to do with, you know, we call it the African proverbs, like life lessons, you know, how to do this and that. It was never negative per se. It was all about academics and speaking English fluently and doing all this kind of thing. So I think the educational system on the other side of the world is a lot different. Whereas over here, it's like they want to remind you.
But I thought that that's what Black people wanted.
We don't want the difference. We don't want to be educated on how the whips ricocheted and tore our skin and we were chained and we were named and we were renamed and we were put on ships and sailed for months on end, and half of us died through sickness on deck, half of us got kicked into water or we were raped. Who wants to hear that? That's not our history. The history that we want to know is where we originally came from. What was so good about us? What was so perfect about us? Because as much as we're taught about...
You know, that is like a revelation to me. Because
it's
from
bad.
what I hear is just that we should remember the slavery and
nice
atone for it.
We were kings and queens before we were slaves.
Everyone was kings and queens.
So it would be nice to know that history that they removed.
Exactly.
They're
so
the only people that took it.
Like, did you know that there was a great... It's kind of like, you know, you got the Great British Museum. You also had a Central African library that had all the reserves and knowledge notes of Africa as a continent. We had that. That was destroyed. So what happened is now, if that's been destroyed and the new narrative is to be taught about slavery, what you've told us is that we weren't shit. We weren't nothing.
Oh
we
my
were
God,
just
that's put complete.
something
Almost
like that.
you've had nothing else good.
Thank you. Now you see this gold. No. I'm wearing gold and right now.
Yes, one.
No. It's like it's swag. Swag is actually a word in the dictionary which means aura, opulence. Yeah, swag. It's actually called swagger. Urbanized it by even. Can you even imagine? There's something called Urban Dictionary. What you have to understand, gold and all this kind of stuff, rubies and all that kind, was seen from the days of African kings. African kings and queens used to wear gold as a form of, luxury, right? But now it's portrayed as drug dealers, rappers, this and that, chains. You even have some silly. We do have some silly black people who say, "Don't wear that because this is just cuffs around your wrist, showing them." Stupid.
Shackles.
Where does gold come? Yeah, shackles. But what I'm trying to get at, without digressing, is that the information that is given to us is not good information. We need Yes, Mr. Man. We are given information.
That's what I think about.
Yeah, he thinks that this is boring. We need to be given information of where we come from. And to empower a person is to empower a nation. Mm-hmm. If you give someone their heritage and say, this is where you come from, do you know what that does automatically? Have you seen the Samoans when they play rugby and they go, hey,
Yeah.
They're white, they're olive skinned, they're all different, but they have that. And their heritage is that they come from a small island of great warriors. So when they now use that as a form of intimidation,
I love the haka.
But then, can you imagine what a Samoan person or a person from New Zealand wakes up in the morning and thinks, I'm Samoan.
Yeah.
My heritage is that I'm strong. You're empowering someone. But when you now tell someone you're a slave, automatically they're thinking, you know what?
God.
That's it. That's it. Or you come from nothing but shackles. No, we don't want to. See, I think the problem is a lot of people think when we want to be taught about our history, we want to be taught about the negative. We don't want to be taught about that.
Do you want us white people to know about it and learn about it?
Just as much as you want us to know about Winston Churchill and how he fought the war and against the Nazis, which were the racist suppressors and only wanted blue eyes and blonde hair and so on and so forth, even though the guy who's fighting for a narrative, but then you have Winston Churchill fighting against that, right? We want to be educated as well. We want to know why we shouldn't eat certain things. We don't want white people to teach us, because it's like us teaching you about your heritage. Can I teach you about Winston Churchill? I can't teach you about your Polish background. It makes no sense for me to teach you about your background. Why? Because we don't have a link.
So who should teach you about your background?
People that are like. So, for example, don't destroy what is ours, right? You destroyed what is ours because you wanted to own us. It's a form of ownership. Ownership is a form of slavery. If I destroyed your history, I own you because I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, and that is what you believe. My people, or the people that I represent, have been starved of their heritage for years. And being starved of your heritage for years has created devastating results. It has created self-hatred. It has created inferior complexes within oneself. It has created a division, right? A black man can walk on road and see a fellow black man and seize up instantly because he hates himself. Does that make sense? If I see another black person, I'll give you an example. You know what I'm saying, but I'm going to give you an example. When we pulled up and I saw the black guy, I said, look at this idiot. I don't know him, right? Because I've been mentally conditioned to see him think, idiot.
What? Why is he an idiot?
He's not an idiot, but I've been conditioned. We've been conditioned. I'm going to unlearn that habit.
But why him or any black man?
Any black person. This is what I'm trying to get into. See, it blows your mind, right?
Yes.
Okay, if I see a black person, instead of going, oh, you right? When two white people see each other, they go, you right, mate? How you doing? Like your shoes, right? a black person see another black person, but because we don't know our history, because we don't know self-love, because we don't know appreciation of each other, we automatically hate each other. It's like a saying of, if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else?
Do you agree with that?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Do you understand?
And I think out of all communities, the black community loves to show off to each other. You compete.
It's competitive.
Yeah, I've heard of things like, well, you're not black enough, or...
Yeah, because what it is everybody's trying to prove to them. Because nobody has a form of knowledge. Nobody has a form of knowledge, so everybody's trying to fit in. If you don't know where you belong, you're going to try and find your own way, right?
Ooh.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? And these are things that I'm saying, these are things that we have to unlearn. We have to unlearn it. But when you unlearn something, you have to replace it with something, right? But then that's a forge.
How does that make sense?
Black people don't like each other because an energy has been created, right? Yeah. An energy has been created. See, unity is the biggest power there is, right? How do I create it? How do I create a selfish need? I divide you. I'll come and whisper. Of course. Yeah, exactly. Even Jamaicans, Nigerians, they hate each other. No, hate. That's a lie. But they dislike each other.
So do you hate each other?
We don't hate each other because we're both of sound mind. We're both of educated places. But what you have to realize is that division has been created by somebody, because Nigerians have been led to believe that we are better than Caribbeans. And Caribbeans believe, this is what I think it comes from, Caribbeans believe that we have rejected them. This world is constantly evolving. That's why I'm happy knowing that even if it's not in my lifetime, racism will not always exist. It'll be very hard for racism to exist openly. It'll be different to what it is now. Like my daughter's 4. I'm gonna be watching that generation very, very harshly. Because remember now, they are pumping information into them. I'm going to say this because I've been waiting for the opportunity to say this. I don't think everybody that goes to the march that for Black Lives Matters is actually going for the right cause. Mm-hmm. I really feel like it's a movement. I feel people are like sheep. Mm-hmm. It's a motive. It's, oh, let's go. Yes, I'm black too. Oh, I'm going to go. And a lot of people that are posting stuff, like, I think I saw some stupid advert saying, oh, yeah, I take acknowledgement for my involvement. It was like...
Did you see those actors?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That is just because they don't want their career to end.
Yes.
It is that simple.
I found that, I'm sorry.
Was it uncomfortable to watch?
Yes. And I felt bad for you. I thought, oh my God, that is, didn't you feel?
I just turned it off.
How did you feel? It's like, it's a, yes, that's what I mean. Like,
because it wasn't blood filled. It wasn't blood filled. Like, I just believe there's nothing that it comes across in this world is what it seems. You are only in control. Of course, they only did it because, they're not working right now, and they don't want to be cancelled. Do you know the power is with our people? The power is within the people. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So people don't want to get boycotted. What I'm trying to say is that it's a mindset. We are the power, but then to twist somebody's hand, you have to make enough noise. And I don't say that the protests are a waste of time. I still feel there's a motive behind it, but I feel that it is not enough to change anything. It is not enough.
I think he's done something.
What has it done?
Well, he made maybe people talk about it.
I think a peaceful protest will do something.
Yes.
Like you said, not everybody comes with the intent of actually standing.
Yes, I think as soon as you start looting and being violent, how does that?
That's hooliganism.
So how?
People, like, piggyback.
Yeah, I know.
But why wait till now? Why wait till a death has happened for this to happen?
Exactly.
But also, what has
happened? Even though it hasn't happened here.
What's happened? There's a saying: you like our music, you like our food, you like our style, but you don't like us as people. As a society, black people contribute, and I say this with confidence, 60% of narrative to the whole mass.
Yes.
Because you have to understand, we all have things that we contribute. But when you ignore it, I think why people are angry is because when you ignore us for so long, but you take. It's like I come to your door with a pizza. You take my pizza, but you shut the door in my face. How long do you think you're going to do that for before I'll kick off your door one day? So you have to realize that acceptance.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying. Acceptance is what we're looking for, but it's not even being accepted. It's equal like. We don't want to be seen as different from you.
Okay, so we didn't really finish this video in any way. I just left the camera running. It turned off a few times. I had to turn it back on. And we got so deep into conversation in the end about all sorts that we forgot to do the ending of it. But yeah, we had a really interesting conversation. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you soon.